We packed our bags and headed to our beloved Cadiz to visit the largest city in the province, Jerez de la Frontera, which can be seen as a day trip from Seville or Cadiz, or as a visit including a night in the city. In the video, we will explain where Jerez is, what places are worth seeing, how much time to spend, when to visit, where to stay, where to eat, and how to get there. Hola, ¿qué tal? Hello and welcome to the channel where we want you to be happier traveling around Spain and Portugal with the help of our videos and of our self-guided walking tours. Jerez is located in the region of Andalusia, southern Spain, in the province of Cadiz. With more than 200,000 inhabitants, it is the largest city in the province, even bigger than the city of Cadiz, the capital of the province of the same name. Let's take a look at the places you should not miss in Jerez, a city with prehistoric origins, which was a Roman city inhabited by Muslims for more than 500 years and reconquered for the Christians by King Ferdinand III in 1264. Most of these sites are concentrated in the center of the city, where you can see witnesses to the period of Jerez's expansion in the centuries following the discovery of America. The goods arriving from the new continent made Jerez de la Frontera one of the most prosperous and important cities in Spain. Do not miss the main square of the city, the Plaza del Arenal, rectangular in shape and a meeting place of the Jerezanos. Its name is due to the fact of having been the scene of fights between knights. The square connects the Alcázar with the commercial center of the city. Leaving the square, walk first along Lancería Street and then along its continuation, Calle Larga, Larga Street, one of the most important streets in the city, fortunately reserved for pedestrians. It has numerous stores, bars and restaurants where you will see both tourists and locals. At the end of Calle Larga, you will pass the cloister of the convent of Santo Domingo. Walk a little further along Calle del Marqués de Casadomec until you reach the Plaza del Mamelón, where there is a beautiful monument that honors the historic Jerez tradition of enganches, carriages, and horsemen. Horses, as we shall see, are part of the city's identity. The Alcázar of Jerez de la Frontera is located in the center of Jerez, next to the Plaza del Arenal and the cathedral. It is a set of fortifications of Arab origin built between the 12th and 17th centuries and surrounded by a wall. After the departure of the Muslims from Spain, Baroque additions were made. A visit to the Alcázar will transport you to important periods in the Muslim and Christian history of Jerez. Inside the premises you will find a mosque, the oil mill, the hammam, the small but beautiful Arab baths, and the palace of Villavicencio. In one of the towers of the palace, there is a camera obscura. The Alcázar was declared a historic artistic monument in 1931 and belongs to the City Council of Jerez. The ticket to the Alcázar includes the visit to all the spaces of the monument enclosure, with the exception of the camera obscura. We will put links to all the places mentioned in the video in the first comment below the video. The place in Jerez that you should not miss in any way, because it is in the name of the city, because its presence is constant in Jerez, and because it is part of the identity of the city, are the bodegas, the wineries where sherry is made, the drink that gave worldwide fame to Jerez de la Frontera. In the towns of the province of Cadiz, mainly, different varieties of wine are produced. The elaboration of wine in the region dates back to Roman times. Production continued even during the Muslim presence in the peninsula, despite the Quranic prohibition. In the 12th century, England was already importing sherry. Sherry achieved worldwide fame in the 19th century. The official name of the denomination of origin is Jerez Sherry, with the Spanish, French and English names of the drink. All wines of the denomination of origin are made from Palomino, Pedro Jimenez or Moscatel grapes. There are many wineries in Jerez, and choosing which one to visit is not an easy task. Because of its proximity to the center and its tradition, we decided to visit one of the most important, Tío Pepe, owned by González Vías. The winery is in the center of Jerez, between the Alcázar and the Cathedral, and has the advantage of always having visiting hours throughout the day in different languages, including English. We paid for the visit out of our own pocket and booked the ticket at the website of Civitatis, link below the video. At Civitatis, which is our trusted partner, you pay the same price as on the winery's website, and every time a reservation is made following our link, we receive a small commission without the price changing for you. The winery is very large, and the first part of the visit takes place aboard a small train that facilitates the movement between the different parts of the complex included in the visit. The train makes a first stop to admire a gigantic collection of the brand's wine barrels. One more ride on the little train and the rest of the visit will be completed on foot, touring the brand's centuries-old cellars, with plenty of wine casks and many explanations about sherry making along the way. The wineries are very beautiful, and if you have ever visited a modern winery, you will be amazed by the charm of the old buildings of Tío Pepe. The winery is so extensive that it has its own streets within the complex, much sought after by Instagrammers, by the way. During your visit, you will see barrels signed by illustrious visitors from many different places and historical times. The entrance fee includes a wine tasting that takes place at the end of the visit. Depending on the tour you have booked, you will taste more or less wines from the winery. A quick visit to the store and the tour will be over. The Cathedral of Jerez de la Frontera is a magnificent presence in the center of the city. It is close to the Alcázar and the Tío Pepe winery that we have just visited. The cathedral is a 17th century temple that was built on the remains of the old main mosque of Jerez. The works lasted 80 years. The goal at the time was to build a large temple that could one day become a cathedral. It mixes Gothic, Baroque and Neoclassical styles. On the outside, you will see the typical Gothic buttresses used to distribute the weight of the walls and columns. The bell tower is separated from the main body of the temple and probably occupied the minaret of the old mosque. To visit the cathedral, you have to pay, and the entrance includes the ascent to the tower. It is also possible to buy a separate ticket just to climb the tower. Link below the video with prices and schedules. Many areas of Andalusia boast of being the birthplace of the art of flamenco, and Jerez is one of them. If you are staying in the city, if you take a day trip, you can leave the flamenco for Córdoba, Seville, Granada, or even Madrid or Barcelona. If you sleep in the city, there is the possibility of attending a flamenco show in a tablao in Jerez. In addition to the tablaos, you can listen to flamenco in many of the tabancos, old wine cellars converted today into bars, very typical of Jerez. Among the many temples you will see in the city of Jerez, the Iglesia de San Miguel, the Church of St. Michael, the highest point of the city, is especially interesting, even if you do not visit its interior. It is a temple that began to be built in the 15th century. The construction lasted several centuries, so the church ended up mixing artistic styles: Gothic, Renaissance and Baroque. The exterior has 3 facades. The main one, in Baroque style, is splendidly decorated. For those of us who like to visit markets and check out the food that the inhabitants of a city buy, the Mercado Central de Abastos, the central food market, is an essential visit, among other things because it is very well located in the center of the city. The market occupies a 19th century neoclassical building built on the site of a convent. The market has been remodeled several times. Its interior is very nice, with a large area reserved for fish stalls. Take the opportunity to have a look around because fish in Cadiz is serious business. And if it is tuna fishing season, you will be amazed with some of the cuts on sale. Elsewhere in the market there are fruit and vegetable stalls. The Jerez market offers an opportunity to get to know that increasingly rare species, a local market that has not lost its character to tourism. Along with sherry and flamenco, Andalusian horses are another essential element of the local identity. It should come as no surprise that Jerez is home to the Real Escuela Andaluza del Arte Ecuestre, the Royal Andalusian School of Equestrian Art Foundation. The foundation presents the show How the Andalusian Horses Dance, a must-see for horse lovers. Admission to the show allows you to tour the foundation's gardens and visit a small museum about the horse where photography is not allowed. Before the show starts, you can also see the horses training outdoors, which for us was one of the most beautiful parts of our visit to Jerez. We really enjoyed watching the horses train and gallop outside the context of the show. With your ticket for the show, you can walk freely around the facilities without interfering with the training of the horses, of course. The show takes place in the indoor arena, an enclosed space with capacity for 1,600 people. It lasts 90 minutes with some breaks, during which different formations of horses appear and dance to the music. Each performance is preceded by a brief introduction. The circus acrobatics performed by the horses are very applauded by the public, but it is the part we like the least, preferring the delight of contemplating the more rhythmic and elegant movements of the horses. The ticket for the show allows you to enter the museum, the gardens, watch the training sessions and the show. It also includes a ticket to a very interesting small museum located in a neighboring street to the main building. This is the Museo del Enganche, the Museum of the Carriages, a typical Jerez art and tradition, where you can see horses, many carriages and also clothing and other accessories related to the art of the Andalusian horse. We were very surprised to find almost no one in the museum, despite how interesting it is and that it is included in the show ticket. Don't be like those people who run by and don't miss the Museo del Enganche after the show. Just pay attention to the closing times because you have to leave the show and go directly to the museum so you can visit it calmly before it closes. So about the ticket for the show. When we feel it is worth buying it in Civitatis, we recommend it. But in this particular case, we have to clarify that in the foundation's website, the ticket ends up being 50 cents cheaper than at Civitatis. We will leave the links to the Fundación and Civitatis below the video. In Civitatis, you can cancel up to 24 hours before the show, but you will not be able to choose the exact location of your seat. On the Fundación's website, you cannot cancel, but you can choose your seat on a website that it is a bit confusing to use. The choice is yours. And with the Andalusian horse ends our review of the places and experiences you should not miss in Jerez. Let's take a look at the map to see where all these places are located. Almost all concentrated in the center, with the exception of the Royal Andalusian School of Equestrian Art and some of the wineries. As we said at the beginning of the video, Jerez can be contemplated as a day trip from Seville or Cadiz, or as an intermediate stop between both cities. Although in this specific case you will have problems to find a place to store your luggage. Our recommendation would be to spend at least one night in the city, so you can do everything at your leisure. The main problem of visiting Jerez without staying overnight is the timing of your visits. If you are going to see the horse show, which usually takes place at noon, your program will be limited, and other visits might be compromised if you do not have enough time in the city. With an overnight stay in Jerez, everything will be much easier. In theory, Jerez could be visited all year round, but you know that especially in July and August, you run the risk of suffering with the heat. However, check the prices of accommodation before making the decision to travel to Jerez, because there are several events throughout the year, such as Easter, the MotoGP, or the Superbike Championship, which can fill the city to the brim. We recommend you stay in the center of Jerez, as close as possible to the Plaza del Arenal. Here we want to share our experience of a very picturesque hotel in the center of Jerez. We stayed one night at the Palacio del Virrey La Serna, a noble house very close to the Plaza del Arenal. It is far from being an ordinary hotel. The charm of the 6 antique rooms, all with double beds, the corridors and the gardens with a small pool, compensate for the fact that it is not an accessible building. You have to climb several stairs to get to the rooms. The bathrooms in the rooms are modern, and we were treated to chocolates, cookies and cold water. We loved the experience. Link to the hotel below the video. 2 tips for eating in downtown Jerez. The first place we would like to recommend is the Tabanco Las Banderillas. Tabancos are a typical Jerez establishment that today would be the equivalent to a bar or tavern. We thought the food we had was excellent and the portions were generous. We ordered papas aliñas, typical of Cadiz, tuna and wine, oxtail croquettes, artichokes, and finally the oxtail itself. If you want to know more about the most common tapas in Spain, including the ones we just mentioned, don't miss the video we show you now on the screen. The artichokes were a bit disappointing, but the rest of the dishes were delicious. For the whole meal, accompanied by local wines, we paid 25 euros per person. For lunch we chose the Amar restaurant, where we again ordered a portion of papas aliñas, which we loved, and arroz a banda, a classic rice dish, accompanied by wine. Everything was delicious in a beautiful restaurant with a higher price level. We paid 29 euros each. From Cadiz or Seville, you can reach Jerez very easily by train, which would be our recommendation. There are frequent schedules throughout the day. The approximate travel time from Seville is 1 hour and from Cadiz 35 minutes. This time may change depending on the service chosen for the journey. Also, depending on the time of the year, the trains can be very busy, so be sure to purchase your tickets even if it's only a few days before your trip. The train station is a beautiful monumental building built in the first half of the 20th century, a 15 minutes walk from the Arenal Square in the center of Jerez. Next to the train station is the coach station, which is served by bus services from many parts of Andalusia and other destinations in Spain. Jerez has an international airport to the north of the city, which receives flights from other Spanish cities such as Madrid and Barcelona, as well as other airports in Europe. Finally, you can also get to Jerez by car. You will arrive using toll-free highways, and you will see that travel times are similar to those of the train. But by car, you will be forced to leave your vehicle in a paid parking lot in the center, as free parking is almost impossible. We hope you enjoyed our visit to Jerez. It is very easy to fit Jerez into an Andalusia itinerary that also includes Seville and Cadiz. As always, if you have any questions about Jerez, take advantage of the commentary box to ask. On the screen you will see now the list of videos we have already published in the channel dedicated to that amazing region of Spain, Andalusia. We are waiting for you in those videos.